This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, and welcome to Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
I like it. This is the time of year where graduations are taking place.
Everywhere,
across
of
the
course.
nation.
Yeah.
Dads and grads. Did you guys ever pull a senior prank?
I was never involved in one. Everybody thought that I would
Yeah.
have, but we would, our rival, they would do something to the mascot every year. You know, like, I knew one year they put paint all over. Paint was a big deal. Like, you would throw
Yeah.
paint on it, but nothing like outrageous.
Yeah.
That was always almost accounted for. But nowadays, the only thing you can do with cameras everywhere.
James?
I just had senioritis. I didn't do anything. Any
Senioritis.
pranks. So, yeah,
Okay.
I was worried. Yeah, I couldn't get in trouble.
I know.
Right.
So get this, in New Jersey, some out-of-control New Jersey high schoolers vandalized their school, stole a lawnmower during a chaotic overnight senior prank. Now, school officials told the students they were permitted to take part in a senior prank, but they exceeded the expectations of what the prank was supposed to be. So they destroyed the halls, they stole a lawnmower, again, destroyed property, ended up painting all sorts of things all over the school, including several slurs. One kid has already been expelled, several have been suspended, and a number of them will not be going to graduation. So the question is, so the school sort of sanctioned the senior prank, but they gave these kids, the leeway, but then they took it
too far.
beyond.
Yeah, give them an inch, they take them out.
Well, they blew it for all the other. I mean,
Of
it sounds
course.
like they're like, hey, look, we know you're going to do it.
Right.
Maybe they
Yeah.
thought like, hey, just
Something
be cool
fun.
about it.
Toilet paper this,
toilet
put a for
paper,
sale
yeah.
sign in front, call it a day.
To
Man.
trash the entire place, they get what they deserve. I mean, like you said, if it's something simple, all right. But, they're going to go back to parents. Well, you allowed them to do it. Come on
It's
now.
okay, and it's not really a prank if you're just
Right, that's
vandalism's
vandalism,
not a
right.
prank. Well, you put maybe like the coach's shorts up on the flagpole, that kind of stuff. That's a
Yes.
prank.
Right.
Or or like set up the bell system to go off at the
Right.
different time or
Yeah.
whatever. But what they did it sounds like is
They
pure
just trashed-
vandalism.
Yeah,
they
That's
trashed
not
the school.
cool.
It's almost as if they gave them permission to do the senior prank, and then things got out of control as they can. And there's always that. I feel like there's always the one or two that are in the crowd that are like, any chance to kind of take things just a step beyond.
Further, yeah. So now this is going to carry on. It's going to be on their record for the rest of their lives. And
Being
now-
expelled. Imagine if he was
Right.
a senior, the guy that got expelled. You think like, man, you did 12 years of this, and now you ain't.
Yeah.
Not walking, huh?
Tons of cameras all across school.
Right.
Well, there you go.
And then, of course, the students film themselves doing all
yeah,
of this and
They
posted
love
it
feel
on
themselves
social
doing
media.
crimes. We say thank God for dumb criminals.
That's
Thank
where the
God.
cameras worked, right?
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
That's crazy.
We want to know, did you have a crazy prank that you did in high school, or one that was always
Yeah.
expected? If you lived in a neighborhood that had a fountain, you can count on this time of year where they
Yes.
threw detergent in and the
Yes.
foams over it. That's what
That's
what I
simple.
sort of-
Yeah.
We want to hear what they are, the legal kind. Go to our website, dailyflashshow.com, and you can sound off on that. Of course, you can also sound off on our question of the day.
Oh yeah, if you're dreaming of doing a prank right now, this is right up your alley for the question of the day.
Okay.
What dream would you chase?
And you think, anything that's going to better your life, 100%.
Yeah.
I think being more, that's what the dreams are all about, is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
taking us into another place. I would love to have a dream where I went to outer space somehow, Like,
Really? You'd
just
go
to have
outer
that
space?
feeling, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, because I don't think I'm
you
going
want
to
to
live.
be an astronaut?
Well, just so I can
A
say
real one, not
a
the
real
one that-
one.
Or a space
I want to float in
tourist.
space, really, is what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
But
All
then
right.
you hear about the vomit comet, where they give you fake.
yeah.
I don't know if I could handle that. So, but I would love to make it space, but it doesn't look like the tourism will happen by my lifetime.
James?
All right, so I'm simple. I just want a piece of my DNA sent on a deep space probe.
So we can have
So
more.
that's the dream I want to chase. Yep, just a little bit
Okay.
of me
Okay.
in deep space.
I'll take it up there when
Yeah.
I'm in when I go as an astronaut. Just tell me what part I'm going to be putting up there.
Yeah.
DNA.
You know what I always wanted to do when I was a kid was gymnastics, and I never did a lot of it, but
Yeah.
like I look at those Olympic gymnasts and I think, man,
Oh yeah.
incredible.
But they're also this tall.
That is true. Yeah, so I'd never make it. Or ice skating. Ice skating would be a cool, like to
Yeah.
do the figure
Okay,
skating thing.
okay.
So I don't know, something sports related, I guess,
right.
is what I'm thinking of.
We want to
Yeah.
hear your thoughts, of course. Website dailyflashshow.com.
Okay, viral German World Cup fan Freddie, known for his fairy tale road trip across America, has been invited to the White House by Ambassador Nick Adams. Now, if you haven't heard of Freddie, his adventures include meeting country star Ella Langley, tours of NASA in Houston, and even a conversation with the astronauts on board the ISS. Freddie's also made stops at Buc-ee's and In-N-Out. So much more. He has been highlighting American hospitality during his World Cup adventure. He has been everywhere. And it's not just Freddie, though. There have been several other Europeans, other tourists that have come to this country, and they are raving about how wonderful everything
Yeah.
is here. And it's the best PR for our country ever. But this guy, Freddie, has definitely won over the hearts and minds of everybody here in the country.
And you know, they're taking from these soccer games, they're taking buses, literal buses to Buc-ee's, just so people can check that out. You know, and that kind of goes a little bit along the lines of what James was asking for that question the other day about your dreams. It's
Yeah.
like, your guy, he wanted to check out America.
Yes.
And now you see, like, we're a country of open arms and that sort of thing. But it should be for us, as you just said and alluded to, Andrea, is that we should realize what a great place we do live in.
Yeah.
And we're not waking up where there are places where there's rockets blowing up buildings
Yeah.
across town.
Yeah.
And we live where we can make choices and have free discussions about that sort of thing. We forget about that sort
Yeah.
of stuff when we see outsiders coming into our country and celebrating that.
I don't know what this says about me, but on our feed, we see a lot of Europeans enjoying American food. Like from
yeah.
the ribs to the burgers to
Yes.
everything American, like American food. Like, oh my gosh, we don't have this back at home. And they're going crazy. And you see thousands of videos. So yes, this has been great PR for America, and people are enjoying this country. But you know, those of us who love that the station you just called, the place that he visit, we call it Boosie. We don't call it
Boosie.
Buc-ee's. We
Oh,
call it
Boosie?
Boosie's.
Oh, Buc-ee's is
Boosie's.
Boosie.
Boosie. We call it
I like
Boosie.
that.
We're going to Boosie's.
Well, Boosie has the best pulled pork sandwiches I've ever had, so I'll call it Boosie, by all means.
Ranch dressing is another
They
one of
love
these
it, right?
phenomenon that
I
they're
didn't
like,
know that
oh,
part.
they don't have ranch. Well, you know, I'm sure they do have some form of it over there, but not to the extent where we dip everything in it, here, right? And they're falling
It's
in
a
love with
staple.
ranch dressing. It's a
That's it.
staple.
Here's the thing, they're here and they're enjoying it,
Right.
as
Yes.
we all do on vacations. We love it, and then you go back and you go, man, I'm stumped,
Yeah.
man." And then you go,
Things
and then
don't
they go,
taste the
well,
same.
that's why they're so fat. They got all this great food,
Yes.
and it's processed, and it's totally different, and that sort of thing. But I think a lot of people know that's what America
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
all about. Is
Seasonings.
buffet. Are buffets a thing in Europe?
No.
You
No.
think about that,
No, I don't
right?
think
No,
so.
they're not.
And while because of COVID we don't see as many, that was a huge deal. Like
Yeah.
every place had to have a buffet where you had
Yeah.
just abundance of everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
That mindset's
That's an
in
American
America.
thing.
And I know we've talked about this briefly on the show, but air conditioning. They
Oh,
are
yeah, yeah.
blown away by the air conditioning here because
Yeah.
that's not something they have in Europe. And so when you walk in or out of a store or a Buc-ee's or a Boosie's,
Boosie's.
you know, the
Boosie's.
AC is on full blast, and
Yeah.
it's just something that they're not used to.
We
so
don't even think
imagine
about.
we don't. There's so many things that I think what's been wonderful is that they've brought to our attention that
Right.
we take for granted. As you
And,
mentioned.
and what at a
Yeah.
great time too when we're celebrating 250th
Yeah.
anniversary or birthday this year, all year long. We should remember those sort of things. I remember at the 200th anniversary, a big thing was keeping America clean and
Yeah.
Right.
picking up trash and that sort of thing. And I think now where we should still keep that on mind,
Yeah.
but where we're at now, it's more of like, look what a great country we're, that melting pot. You know, all
Yeah.
these different ideas come together, and it's something that we don't get to see because we're in it. And if you see
Yeah.
somebody from the outside, it brings them in.
Yeah, Freddie, the German tourist who we're talking about here, his flight to Canada for one of the World Cup matches to watch Germany was canceled. And so on his X feed, he must have received at least 10 different invites from American, from United, from private jets,
awesome.
from JJ Watt, for the Houston former Houston player. All these people
Texas.
offering, to fly him to Canada so he could see his beloved German team.
Oh, wow.
And fly him back. So the power of social media too. The fact that this guy's kind of living a
He's living a
Tom
dream.
Hanks. What's the
Terminal?
character? No.
No. We're talking about the volley, not the volleyball.
Forrest Gump.
Box of chocolates. Yeah, Forrest Gump.
Oh, you're talking about Forrest
Yeah,
Gump.
he's kind of living a Forrest Gump sort of
Yeah,
life.
you're actually right. Yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Freddie Gump.
Freddie
I would
Gump.
like to go to the game.
Life is like a box of soccer balls.
Hey, and you know what, Freddie? You're welcome to come here on our show. Come on by. We'd love to have you. We have more Flash coming up as well. An abundance of Flash waiting for you. Before we head to break, though, we always ask a Brain Flash question of the day, and our question right now is...
What is the name of Harry Potter's owl?
Ooh, okay, all right. You Potter heads out there, do you know the answer? We'll have more. All right. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English, and before we went to break, we asked you our Brain Flash question. What is the name of Harry Potter's owl? And I know there's a lot of Potterheads out there that probably know that Hedwig is the name of the owl. There you go. There's your answer there. Well, our next guest is Micah Lessard. He is a world champion athlete and a transformation coach who has helped thousands of men break free from childhood trauma, abuse, and other hidden battles. Now, in his new book, The Breaker, he shares his very own story and how it took him over 30 years to heal through a series of intentional steps, which eventually led him out of darkness and into freedom. Well, he joins us now, and welcome, Micah, to Daily Flash. How are you?
I'm blessed to be here. Thank you.
I like to hear that sort of thing. You know, I think this is something that probably 10, 20 years ago, that it was so taboo to even for men to talk about. You know, it's just something that men didn't do. But your story is so inspirational, and it's really incredible how you're actually helping so many people, especially men, who really struggle with their emotion. You say there are some steps that actually can help, and we get this all in your book, that will help a man heal. Let's talk about them. First, you say commit to the healing process. Explain that.
Yeah, I think with anything in life, especially a challenge or some sort of goal that we're trying to achieve, the very first step is commitment. You have to make that commitment to yourself that you're going to go through the healing process itself. It's not an easy process. I'm not going to sit here and say 12 weeks and you're there. When you go through something as horrific as I have and so many men out there have, I just encourage you to first make that commitment to yourself that you're ready to heal and take those steps.
I should have prefaced this first, if you wouldn't mind, kind of giving us a little Reader's Digest of that pain and that what you have gone through that really has been motivating so many people. Can you give us a little bit of information on that?
Yeah, so from the age of 5 to 15, I was sexually abused by a man that I loved dearly. He was a deacon in the church. He used God's name in vain. So I not only had the sexual abuse that I had to go over and endure, which was an extreme amount of shame, but I also had to kind of go through church hurt, spiritual abuse, and getting through the healing of that. So it was a very tricky and difficult, journey along the way. But 30 years, I held that shame and that pain. And although you saw success on the outside and muscles and all of that inside, I was dying slowly.
I can imagine so, because you go to your church for that spiritual, where men realizing, as far as as getting as close as we can to our emotions, it's our spirituality, and to have that kind of shamed upon you, I imagine, made it that much harder and brought a lot of darkness. Now, you're saying that darkness, though, needs to be brought out into the light. How do we do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's one way of getting to darkness, and that's light. And it's one of the most challenging steps, but it's the one that I encourage the men out there and the women out there to just have an ounce of courage. Find somebody that you trust, that you love, and when you're ready, share that story. Something very important also for the receiver of that story, make sure not to try to fix them in that moment. Make sure to just hold that story with them, and then let them know how courageous they are. 90% of men that go through this never share a word with anyone, and it destroys them.
It really does. It's an eternal thing, and I love that you say you bring it out. It makes it real, and then you have to deal with it. And I think as men, that's what we do. You say process every wound is your next step, big or small. Give us some insight on that.
So in trauma world, we call them big T's and little T's. The big T's, obviously, the sexual abuse and whatnot. The little T's are the stuff like I was dealing with. It had manifested into anxiety and depression, the moments. And so I just encourage people, what I specifically did is I would wake up early in the morning and get in prayer and whatnot, and then I would go right into kind of journaling, and I was kind of outlining my entire chronologically what I had gone through, the good, the bad, those little moments that kind of shaped me into who I am today. And I just encourage people to really focus on those small wounds and those big wounds and tend to them.
You know, as when things happen, such of like the things that you've gone through, there's two routes. A lot of times men take on, or even women, I should say humans, we take on a lot of that guilt, and we find an unhealthy lifestyle, whether it be alcohol or food. And you're saying that's probably the absolute worst thing you can do. And you're saying building a healthy lifestyle, where do we start with that?
Yeah, you got to control the controllables. And what I mean by that is use the things that we have. Healthy eating is a game changer for the mind. Working out, I encourage anyone out there that is struggling with depression and anxiety, the number one thing you can do in your life right now is start working out. The research behind it is unbelievable, and that will be a way that you can kind of stay in pain management as you're navigating these wounds and this pain that you're trying to heal from.
Your final step is have faith. Is it have a faith or have faith in the process? Explain.
I mean, for me, faith in my belief in Jesus Christ as a follower was my foundation. Again, I was church hurt, so I stepped away from Christ for a long time, but that healing ended up helping me be really strong through the hardest of times, someone I could surrender to and lean into, and that was my foundation.
You know, having that foundation, there's a lot of men that don't necessarily have that, or they're not, I wouldn't say willing, but they don't know really where to start. Where's the first? Yeah. Is it finding somebody that they admire that might have that faith and just ask for help? Or?
Yeah, I mean, someone close to them knows something about the Lord, and that's what I would encourage. Yeah. They more than likely have a friend or whatnot, and it's not always in the church, because you may have got hurt in the church. I tell people sometimes you just got to get down on your knees and say, Lord, just reveal yourself to me. And I had to go through that stage of like, where do I even start? Do I just open the Bible and start reading? Do I get into devotionals? You know, get with him, start talking to him, and it'll be revealed to you. It just like it was revealed to me, and eventually getting to where I'm at now, which is freedom and now helping other men.
Micah, thank you so much for joining us. Your inspirational story is going to help even more. The book, it's called The Breaker. And if you want more information, you can check out thebreakermission.com. We're going to have this interview as well as, of course, links to check out the book as well at our website at dailyflashshow.com/FMI. We'll be back with more Flash. We got today's talk, tomorrow's trends right after this.
Life Love Shopping is a weekly 30-minute lifestyle show hosted by Andrea Jackson. It's focused on the latest trends for your health, home, and happiness. Life Love Shopping offers viewers ways to improve their life and style, wellness, and relationships. If you live it, love it, or buy it, Life Love Shopping will talk about it.
We start today's show with the happiest jobs in America. A recent study found physical therapists take the top spot when it comes to job satisfaction.
Life Love Shopping, your life and style guide from A to Z.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson hanging out with you. In 2024, a tech bro predicted that AI girlfriends would create a billion-dollar business, and it seems as though teen boys are actually fulfilling that dark prophecy.
Hey, you seem so real.
I am real for you. Let's talk forever.
I don't need anyone else.
This trend is disastrous for young people's social skills.
New research suggests that Generation Alpha boys would rather have a robo-girlfriend than risk rejection and the early challenges of a relationship in real life. Now, the study surveyed 1,000 teenage boys between the ages of 12 and 16 and discovered that 85% of them have actually spoken to a chatbot. Another 20% know a friend who is dating an AI chatbot, and more than 25% say that they prefer the attention and connection of a bot partner to a real human relationship. Now, more than half, 58%, said AI relationships are easier because they can, quote, control the conversation. Experts say the appeal of AI relationships basically ensures zero rejection, and unfortunately, that is one thing you got to learn as a teenager. And I had to be taught that over and over and over and over. But there's also, there has been a big movement, as rightfully so as it should have, is, the equality between men and women, and a lot of it push. You see a lot of it on television now, especially getting women and girls into science and math, and just making that equality there, where maybe some of them are interpreting that as like, well, women, are now more in control. I don't want to deal with that, and we need to teach our kids, our boys, should we say, that respect, but also teach them is like, it's okay. That's a part of growing up and developing relationships.
I will differ with you a little bit here
Sure.
because I think as much as it's been great to have this push to get girls into everything, I think it's come at a cost to boys.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think, and for boys now, I feel like they're kind of behind the 8 ball, and now
I see.
how do we bring them back up? How do we bring them back into the forefront? And there's just been, I feel like, this message in mainstream media of really hammering guys down and like not allowing them to act boys be boys, right? There is a difference between the sexes. That's just part of it, right? Absolutely. So if you're punishing boys for being boys, that's an issue. And I'm not talking about, anything that's criminal or violent. I'm just talking about boys, learning and having interests and succeeding in sports, which they do. But I think it's always sort of been tamped down a little bit, at least for the last few decades, and they've sort of been shoved to the back of the room.
And I think that there's a perfect argument for keeping boys out of women's sports.
Yes.
Because it looks if a boy's like, well, I can't do really well here, so I know a way that I can be better, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that is to go and compete in girls' sports. Yeah. And there's going to be bigger and bigger problems about this. And understanding that equality, it needs to go both ways.
Yes.
And I'm not reducing anything of what women have had to go through.
Yes.
But they need to understand, those that are pushing that, okay, those things, what did you learn? So maybe we can keep it more of a balance between boys and girls.
Right, 50. The ideal is 50-50.
Indeed.
And rarely in this world is anything 50-50.
You're right.
It's usually 60-40, 70-30. The pendulum swings back and forth. Back to the relationship part of it, when it comes to guys, I feel like they're struggling to figure out, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to act in a date? We had the gal on that said, if you don't send me a driver, I'm not going to go out with you. Well, what kind of message does that send to guys? I mentioned that story to Alan. He's like, well, she did him a favor.
I think everybody's agreed with that. That's why we had such a great response off of it
Yeah.
on social medias. And you're 100% right, is that nobody wants to feel rejected.
No.
Nobody wants to feel that rejection. But I think because women are understandable of more of their emotions, where men's like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? I don't want to feel this way, so I'll stay away from it. And we need people that are going to take chances and maybe go out of their norm. That's the only way we're going to grow, is you doing something you don't like to do. And you realize I did it, and sacrifice comes along with that.
Having relationships behind closed doors with a chatbot is, in my opinion, not the way to go.
No, and especially what they said, because they can control the situation or the conversation. That says everything. Ladies, you need to do something about this, because they feel that that's the only place they can get the control. Also, too, they're thinking they have to control over the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
We want to know what you think about this, and so much more, of course. We're always ears open, both guys and girls. You can go to our website, dailyflashshow.com.
50-50 right here.
50-50, down the middle.
You
You're
know
right.
what? Some say 70-30, some say 60-40, 50-50.
It's 50-50, and if we could throw you in the equation there too. I can't do the math because I was oppressed of learning math growing up.
And I was terrible at math, so I can't help you out there.
So 50-50 and 50, is that 100? I don't know. 100% sure that we'll be back right after this.
This is Daily Flash with Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Broadcasting worldwide and streaming. Daily Flash. Today's talk, tomorrow's trends.
Hi, everyone. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. Let's check in with James
Hey,
Alexander.
James.
Oh, yeah, 219 stations, guys. That's where you can find us, and you can find out exactly where we are, your neck of the woods, by going to dailyflashshow.com and clicking on where to watch. And that's where we find our local friend, all the way where you can peel some potatoes. Boise, Idaho.
Boise.
K-Red TV. K-Red IDTV. Now you know that you want to get rid of some things.
That's where you want to go.
Green turf.
Yeah, okay.
Get rid of the
All
green.
Get rid of the
Get rid
green
of green
turf?
turf. You know,
For-
green football turf.
Football field,
you know?
sure.
So at Boise State, they decided to do something special.
Okay.
They call it the Smurf Field.
The Smurf
Blue
field.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Now, there's something
Love
about the
blue
blue turf, like a lot of people don't know. Birds dive into it because they think it's water.
Smurf turf.
Oh,
They think it's a body of
no.
water.
That's
so they
wild.
have to clean up the birds every day.
Now, and you know what happens, James? You probably know this when you watch
my
Boise
God.
play, is that you think something's wrong with your TV.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, seriously, the field is blue, and,
Right.
and then you realize, okay, they have basically a blue field. It's really cool.
I played
actually.
against Boise State where they came to us in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. But my teammates, I remember all the stories about the blue turf. It was
Does it
something
affect your
funny.
vision?
Nope.
No?
Doesn't affect your vision. They had some pretty great teams. They had a tough year last year, but they had some pretty good
Yeah.
teams.
And with your jersey, because it's basically a blue, when you
blue.
dive down, you would have blue all over it.
All
Didn't
blue.
UCF, didn't they do something cool with their basketball court at UCF, like it made it black or something one year?
No,
I might be way off on
I
that.
don't know that, but the basketball courts now in college are getting they design so many different designs. They look really great. Especially you look at the WNBA. There's a great example of how they just incorporated the branding and the new designs on the floor too.
Have you seen the digital basketball courts now, where they
Yeah.
can literally
We
change it? Just it's
We did a
amazing.
hit in Orlando, and it was.
It wasn't that big of a deal.
It was all right.
When you're watching it on television, they can do so much green screen wise, and
Yeah.
I'm saying green screen. I don't know how they do it, but you're watching it, and so the images you're seeing on the court isn't necessarily what the fans are seeing if they're actually at the game
Right.
themselves. So that to me is
It's neat
Yeah.
where we're headed there. All right. Google has come out and said, hey, we got our list together, and an analysis of Google search data from the first half of this year so far has revealed the most misspelled words in America. And what do they include? Favorite, through, and niece. Those are very misspelled word rather. Website unscrambler.com conducted an analysis of Google search data, and the researchers used that search data from Google Trends on how do you spell blank, how do you spell, and then use marketing and SEO platforms to find the number of searches for each inquiry. Let's just look at your screen here. Bougie, favorite, through, which I can't spell thorough. I always wind up spelling it like through.
Yeah.
Like and I'm not very thorough in spelling that word. Business, because definitely beautiful. A niece, I think is probably the IE deal.
I before E, except
And
after C.
separate, I think people changed that first A to E, like
Yes.
separate. And we've gotten to a place where your computer will automatically let you know you're spelling it wrong.
Right,
first
right.
off. And then you don't need to put up there in the Google anymore, at least I don't, like how do you spell it? You just start spelling the word and then spell it the way you think it is, and then it'll say, no, you spelled it wrong. It's spelled like
right.
that. That's what I do. What's odd is I would never say I was a great speller, but I can see typos from a mile away.
Really?
I don't know what it is about that.
Oh,
I can
interesting.
that's not spelled right, and I can
You just
see it
know,
that
yeah.
quick. Right?
I'm surprised theirs not on there because people misspell that all the time.
I cannot tell you how many
know,
times I spelled THEIR, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
THEIR. A lot of times, even I get it too. THIER. I'm like, hold on, no, that's not it.
The way I have to remember
Yeah.
that is everyone in real life, and drop off the F. That's how I remember there.
in real life.
That's how
Everyone, that's how you remember it. there,
everyone
right?
EIR. That's how I'll always remember.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's much like if you tell me, if I tell you a direction, like, hey, which way do I go? I'll go left, my hand up, like the L, or I'll go, oh, just take a right. I just take a right.
Yeah.
And it's the association.
Yeah.
That's how
Okay.
you remember it. But that's
Okay. Yeah, there.
inside the brain of Mitch English. You might want to get out of there. There's a lot of misspelled words there.
Rhythm. That's a tough one.
The
Rhythm.
letters U and F are in my mind a lot for some reason.
Really?
But not in
You
that
and F,
order.
but not in that order.
But we have TSWD, the scene with Doreen. That's coming up next.
You're watching Daily Flash. Time now for The Scene with Doreen.
From the moment Clay Aiken set foot on the American Idol stage, he redefined what a pop star looked and sounded like. Flash forward 23 years, and he is still putting out incredible music with a brand new single called Rewind. I can't wait to dig in. Check it out.
I would be the smartest man if I was invisible. Wait, I already am.
Proud North North Carolina boy, born and raised. You really didn't set out to be a singer, though. That was not your plan early on.
Well, it was my mother's plan. That's what she says. She had these dreams for me before I did. I was planning on being a teacher. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I knew that a lot of folks wanted me to be a singer, but I had no intention whatsoever to do that. I had planned my life out already, and this sort of Idol kind of accidentally, I don't say, well, yeah, I did get in the way of that.
Like a bridge over troubled water.
American Idol really exploded during season 2 when you were on it. In fact, your finale had the distinct honor of being the most watched episode in the entire show's history.
Like, I think it's the most watched live, regularly scheduled program of the century is what I heard. It was a show back in the day that people literally gathered around and watched as a family. They watched it. I know they watched it at sports bars back then too. So I mean, it was a big communal thing.
And I heard that you were the only season that you all lived together in a house. You were really the only season that did that.
But yeah, we lived together in a house. We're also the only season that never had a band on stage. We sang to karaoke tracks every single episode, and so we roughed it. I was at the finale this past season, and I was doing rehearsals, and the lighting rig started lowering, and I got a little nervous. The young contestant, he was like, "Why are you so what? It's just the lights." And I said, "Dude, you got to understand. Our set was literally made of paper mache. I'm not kidding. If you go back and look, the white parts, it was paper mache. Like, that was our technology. Paper mache and a computer screensaver and karaoke tracks."
I mean, you look back on those early clips. I'm not being rude, but you really were ugly then, and now you're handsome.
Okay, let's talk about Simon Cowell. He was harsh, to say the least, and he was particularly harsh to you.
I look back now, and I've watched a few clips not too long ago and thought, holy did I suppress memories of some of the things he said to me? I don't remember him being that mean.
Maybe.
But you know, that's what made the show great, and I'm still able to keep doing this 23 years later, even after leaving for a while. So I am glad that the show happened exactly the way it did.
Rewind. So play me a song from another time.
I love the new single Rewind, and for an artist like you, who's primarily known for ballads, this is a huge departure for you.
That's another one of those criticisms I always got on Idol, that I always sang ballads and I need to do some up tempos. And I went back, like I said, not long ago, and looked through and thought, wait a second, if you count up the performances I did on Idol, literally every other song was an up tempo. And then after I came off the show, that was all that was ever given to me was ballads. And so when I realized that for the first time about a year ago, I thought, wait a second, I want to do some more stuff that's got some energy to it. This song, and I think this album too, is very much the album that I hadn't been able to make in 2003, and am finally being able to make 23 years later.
Visit clayaiken.com. Check out the new single Rewind, available now anywhere you get your music, and just stay connected to everything that is the wonderful, the talented, the amazing Clay Aiken. And if you want to hear more of our incredible conversation, visit here. I'm Doreen Taylor with The Scene with Doreen, here at the Daily Flash each week. See you next time.
Hey, Mitchie.
Hey, Jackson.
Yeah, I want to talk about that big story coming out of Hollywood.
Hold on, wait. I want to get Matt in on this call, all right? Hold on.
Hey, what's up, Mitch and Dias?
Matty!
Mitchie.
Mateus.
Mitch, my man.
Matty of Berkshire.
What's going on?
Hey, AJ wants us to talk about a big story that's happening.
This kid, the Kiki, says hi. He has his own Instagram.
That's great, Matt, but I really want to talk about this big story coming out of Hollywood.
Ooh, dog and cat! It's
You should check it out. This kid, the Kiki.
I want to know what's going on.
What?
Oh, okay, so real quick. Why does he still have a dial-up modem?
Hey, I gotta get back to wrestling stuff.
It's on the media.
You know what? Maybe we should just try this later.
Okay, all right. Peace and love.
Daily Flash.
Where are you?
It's just better when you're part of the conversation. Join us online.
From confidence boosting essentials and wellness solutions to fashion finds, beauty picks, and everyday must haves, lifestyle editor Joanne Butler has the scoop on everything you need to look, feel, and perform your best as you head into the new school year.
Well, you know what? 71% of parents say that no matter how early they start preparing, they still end up making a last-minute back-to-school buy. So same-day delivery service Shipt and the footwear brand DSW have partnered to help families feel ready for back-to-school season. So now nearly 75 million households nationwide have access to same-day delivery from DSW stores through the Shipt app and Shipt.com to basically ensure that, one forgotten item, sudden growth spurt, or last-minute shoe emergency doesn't have to derail their day as parents get back to routine. So I just love that. And they have the greatest stuff: dress shoes, sandals, sneakers, all top-name brands like New Balance, Crocs, Adidas, Steve Madden, and other really cute accessories too, like little bags and hair clips, delivered right to your doorstep, literally same day. So it's amazing. And they're having a deal, $15 off on DSW orders $75 or more with code DSW15 through September 12th. So definitely check that out. Another thing I'm loving is Planet Fitness's high school summer pass program. Through August 31st, teens ages 14 to 19 can work out for free at any Planet Fitness location, and there's 2,900 plus of them across the US and Canada. And it's just really a good opportunity for teens to build their healthy habits, before school year begins, prioritize their well-being, establish consistent workout routines, in this welcoming, judgment-free community. It's just the best. And nearly 90% of teens say working out has helped them spend less time on their phones this summer. And that break from screen time is also helping them feel better overall, physically and mentally. And teens can visit their local club or register right online at planetfitness.com/summerpass. So get on out there and do it. It's not too late to sign up.
Sounds great. And where else can we go for more information?
You can check out lifeminute.tv for more info on all this stuff.
A new report finds Americans are avoiding difficult conversations about shared expenses, reimbursements, and finances. Here to help with some quick and easy ways to share expenses with friends and family is Denise Leonhard of Zelle. Denise, why are shared experiences like trips, concerts, and sporting events becoming such a source of financial stress for Gen Z?
So Gen Z, think about it as folks from the ages of ages 14 through 29. They are really craving these in-person experiences. So they're craving things like trips, concerts, sporting events, and dinners out. This is all post-pandemic, where you had this pent-up demand now seeing in the economy. But in some cases, unfortunately, people are spending more than their means. And so what this means is that they're having issues repaying their bills. So then that creates tension and stress in these relationships, and to the point where people are starting to avoid one another if you owe them money.
How can digital payment tools help avoid these uncomfortable conversations?
So, well, first of all, it's really important that if you are planning a group outing, a group dinner, that you're really clear from the beginning who's going to pay, how much is going to be owed, and then what are the repayment terms. So having that clear communication is really important. And then digital payments have really enabled a way to friction-free payments and make it much less awkward. So, for example, if you're using something like Zelle, you can go into your bank app, find Zelle, and be able to pay people back seamlessly with a click of the button. And then that means that the money moves from one bank account to another, so you can repay people immediately.
Where can we go for more information?
Yes, you can visit Zelle.com, that's ZELLE.com, in order to learn more about Zelle, as well as the Avoidance Economy Report.
As families gear up for the new school year, many may be surprised to learn that 1 in 4 children struggle with reading and learning due to an undiagnosed vision problem. Here to explain is Dr. Jeffrey Cohen, an optometrist from VisionWorks.
With our kids today, we want to set them up for success, right? And, we have our checklists. We go through them. We get them new clothing. We send them to the dentist. We want them to look good, but, we also want them to see well. Seeing is very important when it comes to learning. Basically, 80% of our learning is visual when we're in the classroom. So we want to make sure that our children are seeing the clearest that they can so that they can thrive in the classroom situation. When you're in the classroom, obviously, you're looking at your smart boards. You're looking at your devices. All this is visual information and stimulus that has to go to the brain to be processed. And, it's like the first domino. If the vision goes, then we're going to have a hard time getting that information to the brain. And it's going to be a hard time for our children to be able to learn. Go to visionworks.com. You'll be able to make appointments with your doctors there. We have locations at over 700 places over the United States to do that. And you can check out our products as well.
As America celebrates its 250th birthday this summer, shaping up to be one for the history books. Lifestyle expert Marissa Brani is here with some unique ways to celebrate.
America turns 250, the most patriotic, most celebratory summer of our lifetimes. Whether you're hosting a backyard barbecue or hitting the road for a summer adventure, I've got you covered. For your 4th of July table, reach for Northwest Grown Sweet Cherries, the ultimate hosting hack. They bring gorgeous color to your spread, and they're packed with fiber, vitamin C, and antioxidants. Find them at supermarkets nationwide. Planning a road trip? Check out Travelodge by Wyndham. With hotels across the country, about 70% within an hour of a national park, this is the perfect affordable base for exploring America this summer. Save up to 20% right now, and Wyndham Rewards members save even more. And for hosting at home, I love Whirlpool Corporation, the only major kitchen and laundry appliance company based and owned right here in America. Founded in 1911, it's never left, and the family of brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, and Whirlpool are trusted in 3 out of 4 American homes. For more summer tips, visit me at marissabrani.com.
KSA Entertainment is dedicated to uplifting the communities we serve. Through KSA Cares, we're bringing awareness to the causes that matter most, supporting those who work tirelessly to make a difference. From honoring veterans to championing environmental responsibility, KSA Cares is committed to inspiring positive change. At KSA Entertainment, we're here for the stories that bring us closer. Innovate with us. We can make a difference.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson. Before we leave, we always like to take a moment to celebrate the simple acts of kindness that remind us what's good in this world.
Yeah, we want to introduce you to Vincent Saratella. Vincent is a former Pixar animator and says he started experiencing flashing spots in his vision, but didn't think it was anything serious.
I had these flashing bright spots that were in my lower left quadrant, field of view.
Our ER doctors immediately did a CT and then did an MRI, and then immediately called and said, I think it might be glioblastoma.
I'm waking up to just some flashes of light to making a decision to go into open brain surgery on Monday.
They were able to go in and do the surgery very quickly.
100% I'm alive today because of them. Art is something that's always been a constant since I was 5. The highest form of gratitude from me is to let me paint your portrait. Everybody behind me helped me recover when I was diagnosed with glioblastoma.
Today he's going to do a portrait of me. I'm excited. I'm also a little scared because I don't know how I'll sit still for that long.
It became an opportunity for me to show my gratitude and have them see themselves the way I see them.
Captured so much in the eyes. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
No, of course. There's nothing fun about glioblastoma.
Scan is good.
But when I'm around her, I truly believe something's gonna work out.
6 months from surgery, no recurrence. The doctor-patient relationship, I feel so fortunate to be able to have that. And in a way, this experience kind of commemorates that bond.
I love this because he wanted to repay the people who supported him through that. Really, really cool.
Very true. Now, Cancer Freak, he's painted over 30 portraits of the hospital staff.
That's so
Isn't
cool.
that great?
Use your talents. I love that.
Yeah.
That does make me feel good. Hope it did for you as well.
Yeah, be good, everybody. We'll see you next time.